Welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
I'm David.
We are into week 5 of the 2025 spring anime season. Episode 5 of Kowloon Generic Romance, hate to say it every week, but picks up where we left off the last episode.
We gotta find creative ways to say that.
We do need to find creative ways to say that. We complete the conversation between Hajime and Reiko, where he admits that he killed the previous Reiko, but then he does a turnabout and, I don't know, kind of brushes it off, says it's a joke. So we still do not have a definitive answer as to the whereabouts or fate of the previous version of Reiko. While back at her apartment, Reiko becomes interested in a collection of books left behind by the old version of her and pulls one out and starts reading it. In the space that it had occupied on the bookshelf, she notices an object. Pulling it out, it's all intent and purposes a wedding ring, engagement ring, whatever you want to consider it. So we can probably assume that old Reiko stashed it there for some reason, and it's probably the ring that Hajime gave to her for their engagement, would be the assumption.
Probably. Maybe he did kill her. Maybe it's not a joke.
Maybe.
Yaomei seems to think so.
So the next day, both Reiko and Hajime are pretty exhausted. They come in and they got bags under their eyes. Neither of them had a good night's sleep. Well, Reiko stayed up too late reading. Hajime, will skip ahead a little bit in the anime, because I think this happened at this time, had a dream about he and the old version of Reiko going to the tea house for the first time. He was woken up by an earthquake that occurred and probably just had a hard time sleeping after that. He and Reiko, along with Yaomei, go to a bookstore where they think she will be able to find a collection of Japanese language books because she's interested in finding the next book in this series. To their surprise, Xiaohei is working there because apparently she holds half a dozen jobs. And Reiko finds the book and is excited and starts paging through it, but then comes into a problem where it's apparently a misprinting of sorts. It gets illegible after a while. After that kind of disappointing trip, Reiko and Yaomei are they're getting dinner, and the woman running the restaurant offers them tickets to go see an old movie that's playing again, and Yaomei's personality quickly changes to not very happy. So spoiler alert, the woman who is the actor in the movie is Yaomei's mother, and then we get a bit of a backdrop into Yaomei's past and perhaps some of the reason for all of the alterations she's done for herself. As she was growing up, her mother was essentially grooming her to be her mini version, forcing all of the decisions of how she acted and how she dressed. So we can assume that Yaomei has run away from home and is doing everything in her power to get out from under the shadow of her mother and her mother's influence. That's why she has drastically changed herself, because she's trying to find the real her. But with the resurgence in memories of her mother, she's falling back into doubt about her ability to escape who her mother thinks she is. Hebinuma, a man about town, ends up on a morning program with another panelist and the host, demonstrating, different concepts for cosmetic surgery and just general beauty tips. Gets into a kerfuffle with the assumedly European co-guest. He pretty much calls Hebinuma a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
And says that he shouldn't be offering anybody advice because he's gotten everything that he has from his father. At which Hebinuma kicks his chair out from under him on live TV, smiling to himself rather smugly. Reiko visits Yaomei and helps talk Yaomei off of the ledge of self-doubt and depression. And then at this point, this is where Hajime has the dream. And the final segment we get is Hebinuma receives a call from his father, who I thought he was dead.
Yeah, me too.
So his father calls him up and says, you need to bring your ass to me because we need to have a discussion. I would suspect in regards to the kerfuffle on TV, but maybe not. I think there's something grander that's going on, because the final scene is with Gwen taking a trip to the walled city, where we get a definitive shot of it in a mostly dilapidated state.
I think it's beyond dilapidated.
It brings me back to the thing that I've been playing with, where the generic Terra may be creating an artificial version of Kowloon Walled City. As to where these people are that are currently residing within it, I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, I mean, that's the mystery that we'll find out, right?
Are the ruins of Kowloon still around?
No, it's a park.
It's a park now?
After it got torn down and all the redevelopment was done, they actually just turned that space into a park, and there are some markers within the park that are reflections or remnants of the walled city. If I remember correctly, the park is just called Kowloon Walled City Park. So we get some history on Yao Mei.
I did love the scene when Reiko's like telling her about how there's this pretty woman that told me that even if it's fake, if it's what you want, it's good. And then Yao Mei like bursts out of her room, tears, and wraps herself around Reiko. And I was just like, that's adorable.
When Yao Mei is in the darkness of her own depression in her room, she sees herself as her older version. When Reiko pretty much sparks that return of the joy with her, she returns back to this version of her that we're familiar with.
I really want some egg tarts now. They make those egg tarts look so goddamn good.
They did look really good.
Just so tasty. This anime is fucking good. This anime is ridiculous. Ridiculous in a good way.
I wonder how much of it is really just a augmented reality experiment, the generic terror thing.
All of it.
Like, could it literally be a project to upload people's consciousness into a digital environment?
Maybe.
Because in the beginning, remember, they were talking about how generic terror was supposed to give people immortality.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the easiest way that I can think of in theoretical science to give people immortality is just digital copying. But
Maybe.
That's the mystery of the show, and that's what we're watching it for, is to figure out what the hell is actually going on. I'm excited to just see more of this story and how it unfolds. It's doing such a good job of
Being
just
interesting,
slow burning this mystery.
Yeah.
And just giving us just little hints and clues. And
it did what Shoshiman kind of wanted to do in its first season. Give you that like slow burn mystery.
yeah,
But Shoshiman didn't like lay enough groundwork for you to be like, oh, there's a burning mystery here.
yeah. It all it did was lay groundwork.
Yeah.
Coupled with us seeing this now full field view of the ruined city, neighborhood, and then looking at the idea of it being something virtual that these characters are experiencing, then we go back to how Reiko's book that she was looking at the bookstore was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, she got to a point in the book and
Like somebody had typed it in Wingdings.
the next page was just characters. It wasn't text.
Right.
The formatting fucked up in the book when they were updating the server or generating the environment.
Ah, damn these fucking bugs.
It's been so good. There has not been a bad moment of this anime yet.
So, My Hero Academia Vigilante. So we get an opening scene with Koichi out partying with upperclassmen and ends up getting the group that want to go back to his house. He takes them back to his apartment, and we find out he lives in an abandoned building. And he tries to bring these people in. They freak out, and he becomes the rumor of his college campus that he is a creeper.
A pariah of pervertedness.
Trying to lure people into his sex dungeon of sorts. And so we very quickly figure out why no one ever comes around. We cut back to the present day where Popstep and Knuckle Duster are arguing as they do.
They're invading his space and he's not comfortable with that.
So we get that. And then it cuts to that guy that was robbing the place. This like art villain that had broken out. And
Oh yeah.
this dude that's decked out in kind of samurai-esque armor. He goes and fucking kills this guy. And then we start to get this interaction between Popstep and Koichi. Popstep kind of starts digging into Koichi's past, trying to figure out like what he's about, what's going on,
Well, no,
and why he cares so much about his All Might stuff.
she comes in and he's repairing his All Might hoodie.
Right. And he explains that being in that All Might hoodie and not making his own costume makes him feel strong because of what All Might stands for, being the kind of number one hero, being the guy that is the face of Japanese heroes. Koichi feels like he couldn't be any braver than he is in his All Might costume. Then we see that the police have let go the villain that gets rock hard. We get a very interesting fight with Koichi and Popstep fighting this guy. Koichi very quickly loses that fight because of his quirk not being able to handle debris. And from that, Samurai Dude shows up. The cops start coming. Popstep's like, yo, you motherfuckers need to get out of there. They all flee. But before then, Koichi learns the name of this samurai guy. And following that, we get to this in-depth dive of Koichi's a fucking freak and collects every single All Might article of clothing that has ever existed, except he's missing one thing where he no longer has the Silver Age hoodie. And he regales this story about how he saved a child that was drowning in a river, and he dove in, saved them, and ended up giving this child his hoodie and quickly raced off to the hero entrance exam that he was late for and eventually missed because of this whole kerfuffle. Popstep gets upset, fucking runs away, calls him basically a loser, and we find out that Popstep was the kid that he saved.
Like it wasn't obvious with the kid's hair color.
So she musters up the courage to tell Koichi that she was the one that he saved and that she was going to apologize for having him miss his exam. She bought him some custard because she had eaten his last custard, and she was going to have it together with him after admitting all of this stuff to him. But lo and behold, Knuckle Duster was there, and Knuckle Duster stole Koichi's custard.
Knuckle Duster ruined the atmosphere.
I was like, oh, romantic reveal. Fuck, Knuckle Duster's there. We wrap up the episode with Samurai Dude going and killing this big hulking villain, and Popstep and Koichi meeting up with one of the guys that tried to do dirty things to Popstep.
The two middle school thugs that they've become friends with were telling them about a senpai of theirs that they wanted to meet who, was interested in talking with them. And they came into the restaurant and they saw it was the dude with the
Wolverine claws.
The discount bin Wolverine claws.
And they're like, fuck you.
And he's like, no, fuck you guys. I'm out of here.
And we very quickly learned that he is the next target for Samurai Guy. All while in the background, Queen Bee is doing her science-y data collection on what's going on with Turbo Trigger.
Yeah, because she had given an enhanced version of it to Rock Boy.
Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much the episode. I've been having just so much fun with this fucking series.
It was so fun.
It's so entertaining.
Yes.
I don't think I can sing the praises of this show enough. It takes everything I love about My Hero Academia and just dials it up.
The pacing is really good. The characterization is a lot of fun. It's largely goofy.
Yeah.
But there are the moments of just darkness that peel in.
Which is, in my opinion, a lot of great things have come from those like moments of darkness.
Yeah.
And I am noticing that it's less dark than the original series.
Unlike MHA, Vigilantes is a very condensed story.
Right.
So, we don't have a lot of room to just stretch out
an arc's worth of sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice to have little bits of darkness that mirror My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But tells a different story.
Which, it should, because it's a different product.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah. No, this was a really fun episode. It'd be interesting to see what's going to happen with this character that's being presented as a vigilante, but is more villainous than not, especially in relation to Knuckle Duster talking about what makes somebody heroic and what doesn't make them heroic. So this guy is essentially the counterpoint to that narrative that Knuckle Duster was trying to get across.
No, this guy definitely does the judge, jury, and executioner thing.
It's interesting that we have this potential redemption for the leader of the shithead gang. There's something he wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
That he feels he needs to do, but when he realized the people he was going to do it with were people that he's antagonistic with, he changed his tune, but it felt kind of reluctantly. Like, I feel if Koichi and Popstep would have not reacted so negatively to him and maybe tried to hold on, give us a chance, he may have stopped and talked to them begrudgingly. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see next episode, as I always am.
Yeah, so far, with this and Kowloon, there hasn't been a bad episode for either of these.
Lazarus. So the hunt continues for Dr. Skinner as unwrapping the information that Dr. 909 had. They very quickly find out that there was a lot of involvement with this Delta Medicinal, with the production of Hopna. However, what is missing from all this information is the clinical trials. And this quickly gives the team a little bit of a backstep as they're like, well, we can't really point anything at them if we don't have the clinical trials. But Elena very quickly finds on SoundCloud the information.
Kind of.
She clicks play, and it's a bunch of like
They found an IDM track.
a bunch of weird clicky noises. And Doug has the idea to open it as an image instead of a SoundCloud file, which we find it is all of the pharmaceutical or clinical trial data. This directly links.
It's just text documents with graphs, and
Hirsch very quickly makes a comment, outs herself, and Doug's just like,
What do you mean?
Hey, yo?
How do you know so much about this? Distraction.
Yeah. So we have that like
A little bit of slip up on Hirsch's part.
Little slip up on Hirsch's part. With this incriminating evidence, the team go to try to figure out how to break into Delta Pharmaceuticals. I keep calling it pharmaceutical, Delta Medicinal, and confront the CEO. Doing this, they are trying to find every which way in. Drones fail, security's tight, the parking garage isn't connected, and so
Rappelling from the roof is too conspicuous.
Everything is it's almost impenetrable. So Axel does the one thing that Axel does best: walk right the fuck in, kind of nonchalantly. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, uses his magic, PDA.
Yeah.
To just hack the security system.
Hey, how's it going? Finger guns his way up to the elevator. Goes to the elevator. Security notices something's a little fucked up with this guy. They surround him with 4 officers.
Yeah, it was 4 of them.
They happen to get on the elevator with him, and kick-ass fight ensues where Axel beats the shit out of all 4 of these fucking guards.
Yeah, in the course of the elevator traveling however many floors, Axel does a dance with the 4 security officers.
And Axel, in true gentlemanly fashion, doesn't actually punch the female guard. He just chokes her out. He goes upstairs, and we get this scene of the CEO kind of like sitting there having a mental breakdown because he didn't want to die. He thinks Dr. Skinner's won. And Axel puts his PDA to the back of the head like a gun, and he's like, all right, spill it. And dude quickly starts just spilling everything. Axel's like, hold on a second. Connects everybody onto this TV screen, and we find out that Delta also knew nothing about Hopna being
the mutation
a mutagenic drug.
terminal.
However, the CEO knows Skinner isn't lying because one of the clinical trial monkeys died.
So we get our answer of the monkeys at the end of the last episode.
Yeah. And we see that it's when you die, you get this like weird, cloudy, starry eye. Yeah. And so, again, back at square fucking one, they still don't know where Skinner is, but they have an idea to lure him out. They're going to claim that Delta Medicinal has the cure and sends out invitations to every major scientist in the world and have a conference where they're going to try to talk about Hopna and the cure for it, and to also lure out the other hacker that Elena thinks might have a connection to this whole case, Popcorn Wizard. And so Elena sets up a trap, and in the meantime, the security of Delta Medicinal and Lazarus are scanning the area, and it works. The hacker tries to break in, and we find out that she is a very obnoxious female hacker. We get this whole thing with very scientific thing when they're talking through the cure for...
Oh, in the fake conference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very detailed. I was like, they did their fucking research for pain receptors. Holy shit. Great touch on their part. And then the episode kind of just ends after this whole big, huge fiasco of this hacker breaking into the system.
Yeah, there's the feint, and then the double feint, and then the triple feint.
We find out through this whole game of cat and mouse with Elena and Popcorn Wizard that she is in just outside the stock exchange in Pakistan, in Islamabad, and they very quickly send local police forces to try to arrest this person. They think she's in the stock exchange, so they go to arrest her. However, she's not, and she very quickly escapes. And as she's fleeing into the mountains, she yeets her laptop out the window because she learns that this is all fake, and gives Elena a phone call somehow. Basically goes, "You almost got me, bitch," and then hangs up. And that's where the episode ends.
Still back to square zero.
Yep. Hey, you didn't want them to solve it right away.
I really didn't like this episode.
I thought it was funny.
I think the only saving grace of this episode was the fight. What was the whole thing with Axel infiltrating the building? But everything afterwards, with the setup and the trap, was so terrible.
The only thing I didn't like was Popcorn Wizard's character.
Her character was obnoxious. obnoxious and
I even liked
artificially comical.
I even liked the counter hacking thing. I thought that was cool and interesting. I just didn't like her character.
How can this show, week after week, refuse to get any progress? They're not getting any closer than they were at the end of episode 1 to finding anything.
I mean,
but they're just going in circles and they're not gaining any ground.
Right. It's a manhunt. They're not going to just
still though,
first attempt to figure everything out.
Every single episode is, here's our lead. And then they get to the end of the episode and they're like, that lead led us nowhere and gave us no additional information.
I think that's very realistic in a manhunt, especially for somebody that doesn't want to be found.
All right, sure, realism, but everything else in this is so fantastical and over the top. Why are we just sticking with this one counterpoint for it's realistic when the rest of it is, suspending belief?
I think you're being overly critical.
I think this episode was a waste of my time.
I don't think it was. I see it as they're going through and eliminating the different leads that could potentially lead to Skinner.
Yeah.
And they're starting with the most obvious ones.
Trying to find him.
Where the fuck he is. And Skinner is intentionally hiding.
Of course he is.
So even I had a feeling that Delta Medicinal wasn't going to know where he was.
No, that was too easy.
I didn't think they were involved with it.
No, that was too easy.
What I think the hook is that these hackers are going to be the ones that help figure out where Skinner is.
Well, now there's technically only one because they did not. Now they have Popcorn Wizard. Because Dr. 909 was an idiot.
Yeah.
And at this point, we don't even know if Popcorn Wizard is even in contact with him.
Right. I think, unfortunately, Popcorn Wizard is going to be the lead to Skinner.
Or at least returning for another episode, unfortunately.
Right. I can see the direction that this is going.
The direction it's going is by the final episode, they will have caught Skinner, but there will be a twist. And it's going to be really fucking disappointing, I feel. I am not looking forward to the end of this anime. I don't think this journey that has not been very enjoyable is not going to be worth the delivery at this point. Last episode was okay. It was fun. The fight in the elevator and him nonchalantly trying to swagger his way into the building was fantastic. I didn't like any of it.
I think you set this anime too high on a pedestal because of Watanabe's other project.
No, I've pushed that off to the side. At this point, it's telling a story that isn't getting anywhere. And it's frustrating that it's not getting anywhere.
I disagree. I think it's setting the stage of a manhunt.
But the manhunt is the show.
Right.
But we're just...
What, you want them in episode 2 to figure out where Skinner is and then...
No, but I want some variation in what they're doing. There really is no variation in what they're doing.
Because as soon as they get the lead to Skinner, like an actual lead to Skinner, then the show's over.
No, then it's the chase. They're going to chase him. They're going to figure out where he is at some point. They're actually going to connect with him, but they're going to have to chase him then too. But they're literally nowhere. They have succeeded in nothing other than eliminating concepts. They haven't gotten any shreds of evidence to get them any closer to him. And at this point too, all the other episodes have pointed them into a different direction to look for. This episode, they have no direction to go with the next episode. All they know is they need to chase down Popcorn Shithead, who is beyond obnoxious and painful as a character. I laughed when she said, I worship Johnny Rotten because I recently learned how much of a piece of shit Johnny Rotten is in real life. I did not like this episode at all. It made me mad. All of it.
Well, I love the show.
I'm glad that My Hero Academia Vigilantes is so fun.
I expected you to hate My Hero Academia.
It is such a fun show.
I did not anticipate you hating Lazarus.
I didn't anticipate me hating Lazarus either, but man, I'm really hating it. I really am. It's so disappointing to me.
And that's sad because it is a good story. Everything has been really fun so far for me.
I don't think there's any story though. If I compare the concept of this of a story revolving around finding a terminal virus and reacting to it, the first thing I think of is 12 Monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing, fantastic movie. But it's not necessarily kind of the same concept as this one. This is a science fiction version of Ocean's 12.
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11 was original and interesting. Ocean's 12 is repetitive and boring. Kowloon Generic Romance, though, that mystery is fantastic and engaging. Because, man, we do not know what the fuck is going on. And they keep dropping little droplets of like, what's really going on? What isn't? And I love it.
I just don't understand how, like, Bridget, who loves Cowboy Bebop as much as you do,
They're not the same.
loves this show too.
Bridget also loves other things that I adamantly oppose to and do not enjoy. I'm not saying that Bridget's wrong and I'm right. I want more substance and I'm not seeing it. Spinning wheels with slick action. That's all I'm seeing. And that doesn't interest me. That's why I've never watched John Wick, because it has nothing for me. I don't need to watch 2 hours of gunplay. It serves no purpose for me. I could do something more interesting with my time.
I feel like, though, if they just, like, got the lead on Skinner by episode 2, this anime would be terrible.
No, but I want them to actually have real progress. They have not progressed at all. They've gone down alleys.
They've been eliminating potential.
They've gone down alleys, and all those alleys have been bricked up, and so they just go back to point zero. That's not interesting.
I disagree with you.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's perfectly honest and reasonable.
I think you're missing the aspect of the fact that they're narrowing leads, like an actual crime being
I do
solved.
see that, but they're wasting too much of the story on that. They're being too repetitive in what they're doing. I want it to expand out and be interesting instead of doing the same thing each week. Because when it boils down to it, they've just done the same thing each week beyond week 1. Because week 1 was intro, bring the team together. But every single week, they have done the exact same thing with just a different skin on. Last week's episode was fun because we get to see the characters all together having fun, kind of. Instead of like the teams or solo. Lazarus needs to fucking pick it up because I'm rapidly losing enjoyment or losing confidence, interest in it. It really just needs to do something aside from introduce a cast of obnoxious characters. We'll see what the halfway point next week is going to be like. Kowloon, just on like the general mystery itself of like not knowing what's going to happen and how things are going to keep unfolding. But I think I'm the most excited about Vigilante for next week because I really want to see how they're going to build the storyline around this villainous vigilante that's just murdering people on the streets. That I'm really interested in.
We were so close to having a perfect season. we were so close. And you ruined it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I ruined it.
I'm just kidding. Everyone has their own likes and dislikes.
This is true.
I'm just sad. I'm just sad that you dislike this show.
Well, they can't all be winners.
And so is Bridget. She's heartbroken.
She'll get over it.
I know she will. But she's sad.
We got anything else?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Let us know what your thoughts are on Lazarus and if I'm being too critical. I'm sure I know I'm always critical.
Or if I'm not being critical enough.
Does David just enjoy mindless entertainment too much?
Hey.
Don't forget about our episodes that drop on Wednesdays, Anime Plus, where we are talking about Season 2 of Shoshimen, How to Become Ordinary, which has been really good. Like, real good.
Ridiculous.
This week's episode, we're ramping up to getting to some shoe dropping action going on. But that's on Wednesdays. And, this one drops on Fridays. So other than that, come find us in a variety of social media platforms. We have links below. Come join us in Discord, where we can talk in depth about Lazarus and anything else, I guess. I hate to admit it, but I've been dragged into watching To Be Hero X, and I don't know what I like. I don't know if I like that, but it's happened, and it's continuing to happen. I don't think I like it.
You're gonna like it, and I'm gonna be disappointed in you. If you like that over Lazarus, friendship ended with Steve.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening. Don't forget Wednesdays as well, and we'll check you guys next time.
Deuce.